Hello and welcome to Dad Doesn't Have Time for This, the show where we review things quickly and compare them to everything else in existence. Today, I'm going to talk about the much maligned Hellboy the Crooked Man, a movie that everyone seems to hate, but I actually kind of liked. So, recently, I've been reading Hellboy. I enjoy Hellboy. I got myself the fancy library editions, and you know what? They're wonderful. Highly recommended. But I'm not here to talk about the beautiful library editions of Hellboy. I'm here to talk about the Crooked Man. Because when I started reading Hellboy, I just wanted more Hellboy. And I didn't want to pick up a book. So I watched the movie. And you know what? I really enjoyed it. So, a few caveats on this movie. One, they had no budget. They clearly had no budget. There's like 5 people in the cast and then a bunch of extras. So, yeah, it's that kind of movie. But it's filmed like a low-budget horror movie. It feels like a low-budget horror movie. But you know what? It got the tone of Hellboy way more accurate than the last movie. So, after watching this movie and comparing it to the last movie, so the last movie, the tone just didn't quite sit right. It was like a retelling of the Del Toro movies. They killed off his dad again, and it just didn't feel right. There was like profanity in places that didn't seem appropriate, like in the opening intro where they're like explaining medieval history, and there's just like dropping F-bombs for no reason. It just did not work. This movie also has profanity, but it seems appropriate. It doesn't bother me at all. Mostly because it's used at the right time for the right emphasis, and not just there for shock value. The last film just felt like it was like, we're gonna go hard R, and we're just gonna push this for the sake of pushing it without really having a reason for it. This movie is a lot more low-key horror film, and just while it doesn't have the same quality of action as the last movie, because the last movie had a budget and this movie does not. So as a result of the last movie, let's just say the fight scenes looked a lot better, but this one just feels better overall. It's a more cohesive story, a more cohesive movie, and I just really liked it a lot. The guy who they got to play Hellboy, I think he does a good job. The only downside is, I don't know what it is, just his nose does not work for me. I realize that's a really stupid thing to complain about, but let's look at Hellboy's face for a second. This is what Hellboy's supposed to look like. You see what he doesn't have? A large, pointy nose. I know it's a small thing. The actor actually did a good job of Hellboy, but there's just something about his nose that bothered me the entire movie. I realize how dumb that may sound, but it is what it is. I think it was Bobby was the name of the Asian girl or something like that. Cho or something. I thought she did a great job. Just like a field worker pulled into a supernatural situation and exploring and learning on the streets, basically, what she knew academically, because let's just say what works in a book doesn't always work in real life, especially when the rubber hits the road. And she learns that real fast. I just thought it was an interesting story. They touched lightly on Hellboy's origin and his mother as a way of like tempting him, and I thought that was an interesting thing. The Crooked Man I thought was done really well. Just a creepy old guy like this all the time. Yeah, I thought that was well done. I really liked the blind preacher, the weirdly religious guy with the cat bone. I thought he did a good job. I thought the cast was all very well done. I thought the acting was solid for what it was. Like I said, clearly they had no budget, but I actually thought they made it work. I really enjoyed this. I was pleasantly surprised. My expectations were pretty low given all the reviews and the fact that the last Hellboy movie was kind of a mess. And I have to say, this one is a much more enjoyable film, as long as you go into it expecting a nice, low-budget horror film with the Hellboy vibe, as opposed to something glorious like the Del Toro films. And all in all, I'd say this was the 277th best film of all time. I enjoyed it, and I'd recommend giving it a shot if you're looking for something spooky for Halloween with just a smidge of humor here and there for good measure. So you all have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.